Welcome, everybody, to the Spy Party Competitive League Playoff Sunday Cast. I am your host, Lieutenant Hummus. I am joined by Warning Track and Tobo tonight. How are you both doing?
Very well. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Warning Track, you there?
Yeah, doing great. Very, very excited about the matches tonight.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Excellent. Yes, we have two spectacular matches for you tonight. We have from the Challenger playoff bracket, we have Sheph versus Watermeat, and we also from our gold finals, we have I lost all the hype, everyone. We have Ponu versus Malkanich from our gold championship match.
That sound you hear is the hype balloon deflating.
Yeah, so it goes. That is fun.
We'll reinflate it. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll reinflate it. It'll be okay. I am cool. I'd say without further ado, we should just kind of hop into what we've got going on, right? Unless there's something you all want to mention.
Well, there's only a little bit to talk about. We're doing the Challenger match first. Watermeat is a little hard to gauge. Joined SCL in Week 7 because of the Swiss style in the Challenger tournament. People can join at any time. But they obviously are not going to face the top players when they do that. It's based on how many points you've earned. So Watermeat joined in Week 7 and won all 4 of their matches, although one of them via forfeit, but didn't have to play any of the top-ranked Challenger players. So we don't know how good they are. It's a very small sample size against middling competition. Sheph, on the other hand, is the number 3 seed in the whole Challenger tournament. Got a bye in the first round. So this is their first competitive action, I think, in a couple of weeks. Yeah. They've lost just twice all year in Challenger, and one of those was in the final week to Dowsey, which isn't necessarily saying much. So this really could go either way. Watermeat, maybe won those games because they're actually really, really good. Maybe they haven't had to play anyone yet, or maybe it's something in the middle. But either way, Sheph has to be the favorite based on track record alone.
Yeah, Sheph is better on paper, but a good part of that, as you were saying, is that just we don't have a lot of paper for Watermeat.
That's a good way to put it. Yes, we have a shortage of paper, but they're gonna write something down tonight. We're gonna see a lot of what Watermeat is made of tonight.
Although one very interesting result is that in Week 1 of the Challenger bracket, Portal Freak was the one who took on Watermeat, and Watermeat won it by a very slim margin in the overtime game. 9-8.
Yes, the closest possible match. So by the skin of their meat or water or whatever it is, however you want to say it. I'm sorry, I can't get used to that username. I really can't. It's freaking me out. Anyway, a very, very narrow win, and you're going to have to play better than that to beat Sheph.
All right, well, let's get into the picks and the bans. So we start off with Sheph going ahead and banning Ballroom any 4 of 8. And Watermeat returning the favor by banning Pub any 4 of 7. Oh no, did I hide the picks and bans? Oh, the picks and bans are kind of busted. Cool.
Oh, that's
alright, well, I'll just read them out to you then. Unless, let's
works for me.
Thing. Oh, there they go. Alright, maybe I just... Oh, they disappeared. Weird. Alright, my overlay is broken, but that's fine. So we, like I said, bans Barroom from Sheph, Watermeat bans Pub. The picks are, I love these picks already. Sheph goes ahead and picks Gallery any 4 of 8. Watermeat Veranda any 5 of 8. Sheph Courtyard any 4 of 7. Watermeat Modern any 5 of 8. Sheph Balcony any 2 of 3. And Watermeat finishes off with Library any 5 of 8.
So what you're telling me is a whole lot of missions going to get done.
Well, yeah, a lot of missions. A lot of bigger maps are chosen. I think Balcony's in there. But yeah.
That's the only one.
That's considered
very much an outlier.
Small map.
This is going to be a fun
one.
Good
one.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
loading the game right now, and I think we're just going to hop right into it.
Let's go for it.
Sounds like a good plan, starting things out on Gallery, as you were saying, with Watermeat starting things off on the spy side. Sheph on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. That was an unusual little opening situation there as we get settled in the statues to start things off with a highlight and a pair of inspects.
I have a dog that likes to turn around in circles before it decides where it wants to end up every time. That's kind of what Watermeat did there.
Oh my god, Watermeat is a dog, confirmed. It's a big secret. Stepping into conversation here with the double agent nice and early on. Ooh, green purloin, so we might be able to get the contact off, try to distract from the take here. That looks like exactly what we're happening.
Banana bread.
Got a reject.
The reject might help. You would really want one more, though. There wasn't a whole lot going on in the party. Sheph zoomed in, looking very closely there, and sees that list, I think.
4 or 5 lowlights at the same time, but all of them contact lowlights. I don't think he was able to get a huge amount from the purloin.
If Watermeat is not a big suspect, and if those lowlights were the actual trade for the purloin, it's a great trade for Watermeat.
Never can tell when you're watching snipers nowadays where their heads are at and just how suspicious people are. But I'm sure we'll find out as we move forward as Watermeat steps into the second statue visit here.
Now here's what's interesting. Normally a second statue visit or a banana bread would be the prompt to shoot if you did. Wow!
Oh! This is so fast! He's not showing it! 4
Can't possibly
seconds!
expect it. That's gonna work. That's gonna work.
So fast! That may have been the fastest game of Gallery I've ever seen.
And the only highlight, too, what I was going to say when that swap happened is this is really interesting. It's happened so quick that I think even if they were suspicious, probably not going to shoot because the flirt can't possibly be done. Normally, you would wait for the double agent or the second statue visit to confirm if you were suspicious of the purloin. But in this case, he figures this is so quick, he's not even going to be watching for this swap.
And man, oh man, is that ever going to be a wake-up call for Sheph to start things out?
So
yeah, Watermeat saying, I am not scared of you.
You mentioned that was a quick game. So according to the replay, that was 104 seconds. So just over about a minute 45 seconds to finish all the missions on Gallery. Which, yeah, very, very quick.
Otherwise known as shorter than your average game of balcony.
You're not wrong. Shorter than your average game of balcony. Let's see if Sheph is able to answer back and get their footing to start things out. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, wake-up call is a good way to put it. Sheph knows cannot sleep on this opponent.
Sheph starting things out in an innocent conversation. No seduction target to be found, no double agent to be found. Just a little bit of idling.
And that's not something you can necessarily afford to do on Gallery.
Yeah, you really do want to find a little bit of mission progress right at the beginning here, especially if it can keep you inconspicuous while it happens. Ooh, a little bit of a pause in the doorway, making it look like our spot was taken, I guess.
I understand the idea, but I don't know about the execution there. And yeah, the mission progress is important on Gallery, not just because you have to walk such a long way, but because unlike other maps, you have to walk a really long way just to add time if things don't work out.
Yeah, the pause was a little bit too long, I think, and maybe a little bit too late as well. Does get the fingerprint off the briefcase at the end of it, though, and a flirt before stepping back inside.
Yeah, my main issue with the pause was there was still room in that conversation. But I don't think it's going to be an issue for Sheph. The real issue is that you only have a modest amount of mission progress and you've got 2 minutes left.
Yeah. Already in a bit of a difficult situation. Toby being very insistent and not getting anything from Sheph so far.
Now what's interesting is Walt out front just got a low light for that kind of pause and then a bump. So wow. Sheph maybe had the right idea. Maybe the game plan there was right, even though it didn't end up paying off.
Well, gets the final fingerprint off of a green book and takes it out as he steps in for his second flirt. Picks up another white test up to 67%. We are still in 3 flirt range, but it's going to need to be snuggly.
And if I'm not mistaken, Alice has been to 2 statues now. This would be a really good time, potentially, to do a banana bread. Now, obviously it's an SDA, so it wouldn't be real, but you got to wonder if Sheph, at this point with a minute left, wondering whether or not they're going to finish.
Fake contacts are really hard to justify
Mhm.
on this map in particular, as Shep steps into the blue bookcase to finish up the transfer of the microfilm. And back into conversation we go, trying to get close enough for the flirt to take, and I think it does. Either way, that's 100% on the flirt.
Yeah, they ignored the action test, assuming it was close enough. Couldn't have been positive if you ask me, but it is. They are right.
Well,
And
keep
now,
in mind, they can actually see whether they're close
oh
enough
yes,
on the
that's right.
overlay. So.
Now they clearly want to finish without
Oh
statues here.
no! It's fine. It's fine. Watermeat didn't notice. Everything is okay as we step into statues for our first inspect with 20 seconds left on the clock. I don't know about this.
I think it's going to have to be a swap instead. They clearly did not want to go to statues this game, but could not banana bread, couldn't get the bug off.
Oh man, that's right in front of the laser, just facing it, but no shot yet. I don't think Watermeat was expecting it. It's such a bold play, and somehow Shep gets away with it.
So many statue visitors. 4 people at statues in the last 10 seconds. That's just too much. And the ones you're going to be staring down are the ones facing away from you, not the ones looking towards you. Just too bold.
Wow, what a move by Shep in the final moments of that game. A bit of a desperation swap, but caught Watermeat looking at other things.
Yeah, flat-footed. One good swap deserves another. Both of them beating the other with gutsy swaps. One gutsy because it's early, the other gutsy because it's right in their face late.
Man, feels like Shep kind of dodged a bullet in that situation in a very literal sense, but now it's 1-1 stepping into the next round of gallery. It's Watermeat back on the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And let's give a little credit for the timing of that swap, too, at exactly, more or less, 10 seconds.
Yeah. Hard to get much better timing-wise.
Yeah, you want to avoid overtime there because one of the statue visitors is going to get shot if that happens, and it could be you just because you're there. Definitely want to get that done before 10 seconds, and they did.
Ooh! Ooh! Just tries to get away with an animation transfer at green bookcase without much cover as a very tall character. Hits the white test, the head turn goes off, and so does the bullet, and Watermeat.
Yeah, I think they thought maybe they had a little more cover from Seek there in conversation. It can be a little hard because you're not always sure if the sniper is aligned more to the left or the right. You got to make a bit of a guess sometimes, but if that conversation is full, you know you have cover.
General just too tall, so Shep takes a lead in the set early on after going down the first game and steps in to the spy side himself in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And if you're Shep, you know that even though you caught them that time, they were very aggressive in both gallery games.
Indeed. Shep starting things off at statues for a quick little set of inspects after picking up a flirt. So, not the best flirt, but might be able to pick up another one here. Does indeed hit a green test there to bring himself up to 54%. So, in green flirt range after 2 flirts is not necessarily where you want to be, but we've got them so quick, it's not a big deal. Finishing up inspects fairly early on as well. Shep does not slow down.
Yeah, absolutely not. In balcony, maybe the number of flirts matters a lot more. In gallery, it's definitely more about how quickly you get them in on the actual clock. So definitely good progress here from Shep.
Stepping into blue bookcase and hopefully able to get a last flirt here. Second target hangs around, but we're not able to hit the green test to bring us up to 88%. It's going to be a 4 flirt as the book goes right back where we found it.
But the inspects are already done. We're probably a pretty big suspect for it, but they're out of the way. So, the inspect's done, seduce nearly done. You can start planning out the end of your game here.
Minute and 45 still on the clock. A long mission done in the way of inspect. Lots of progress on another one in the way of flirt. So we've got some options.
Yeah,
oh, what a beautiful bug! Are you kidding me?
I think it came during a zoom too. We're gonna have to check on the replay after this. But now Shep in a commanding position. Just want to get that flirt done and time the banana bread as well as possible.
There was so much going on right there. Not a great entry into conversation, but we're not dead for it.
Good recovery at least.
There's
Banana
the
bread.
contact, but the double agent almost ruins it for us, but
Yeah,
does indeed get off in time.
If they leave before, it's terrible. If they leave right after, it's great.
Yeah.
And now he gave up. Shep gave up some good highlights there. Some late statue visitors. I think maybe Irish had been there twice even. But whatever it was, those were some costly lowlights. But when you're this close to winning, it's worth it.
Hang out to see where our seduction target goes so we can chase real quick. And it's just a painting pad. This is an easy flirt. There's the countdown. There's the shot. And Watermeat keeps things tied at 2.
I think maybe the downside of the 4 flirts was just that he was seen with this character so often. Bookshelf flirts in particular can be very, very suspicious. Wow. Now, it's interesting. Shep did the right thing, did not flirt before picking up the book, flirted afterwards. So not particularly suspicious, just really good pairing there. And if you're Shep and you saw that first game of Spy from Watermeat, coming out of the gates like that, and now you see this shot happen, when you thought you were done with this, you have been put on notice. This is not going to be easy.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna say statue visits and CC entry probably, but the timing is still really good. A lot of people would shoot sooner, but in this case, Watermeat thinking just wait for one more thing. That one more thing is the flirt.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Hummus, but I think the score should be 2-2.
Oh yeah, I think you're right here.
Yes.
We'll double check. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna hide this. I'm
Let's
gonna
see
hide
here.
the screen real quick so I don't
Okay.
spoil anything. Oh right. It does. Yeah.
So the only downside about that bug, that lovely, basically invisible bug, is that Watermeat was zoomed in. So it could have been ugly as hell. It wouldn't have mattered. It wasn't going to be seen regardless.
Yeah.
Either
Adventure,
way,
we're on
you're-
to veranda.
On the veranda. It was a very pretty bug, though, so we shall see. Man, this is already a barn burner of a set, and we're just getting out of the first map. Let's see how veranda turns out, with Watermeat starting things off on the spy side. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and now they both know. They know this is going to be a fight.
Oh, yes.
And remember, Shep narrowly missed out on one of those auto promotes out of the Challenger division. Wants to be one of the top finishers here in this tournament to get one anyway.
Early contact coming out from Watermeat, which is a bit of an unusual decision because you don't want to let off too many lowlights early on. Lots of lights happening from it, not all of them lowlights. But
Yeah. Yep, very atypical strategy here and a lot of movement. And I think probably a lot of lowlights left on the table there in the hustle and bustle. The problem is there's so much movement early on, actually, that can be very tricky to tell who might have split if you're not confident about it. So there's actually like a weird counterintuitive way that can work really well if you're up against somebody who maybe doesn't want to take lowlights unless they're sure.
speaking of splits, the purloin comes off. It was a green. And while that's happening, we're finishing up our first set of inspects. Shep just now realizing the list is gone.
And can they narrow it down? This is the big question. How confident are they about when this took place?
Oh my god, look at this. He sees the list gone and then sees Watermeat enter the conversation.
Yeah, that's what you want to be doing, and now taking a drink too. There was a beautiful moment where Shep's cursor just sort of stopped in the middle of the map, almost like they were thinking, trying to remember who was there.
But I think either way, Shep caught it too late, so any information he gets on it is not necessarily going to be good, and I think Shep knows he's been beat on the purloin.
Yeah, you need to have that humility as sniper. You need to say, you know what? I just don't know when this happened. I can't get any actionable information from it. The good thing is, it's veranda. They need to do 5. So that's not like courtyard where you miss your one hardtail and now all they have to do is bring it home. You can still get them.
2 completions at this point, 2 inspects, and a flirt on the table. With still almost 2 minutes to play, Watermeat is in a good position here as he picks up his second flirt up to 68%.
And look at that, 6 to 7 seconds after the flirtation cooldown expires before Watermeat actually takes the flirt. Being very careful, showing a lot of respect for Sheph's sniper, even on things like that.
Yeah, just playing for politeness sometimes. It's the little things that can get you in this game.
Yeah, and against one of the top challenger players, you know some of them are well ahead of their time and their game count in terms of things like etiquette, so giving them a lot of respect.
Going for a difficult fingerprint on the green books, not able to hit it. Oh! But takes
Oh, no.
an animation transfer, sees the laser zoom in, has to cancel it, and takes the shot anyways.
Yeah. Now, when you look at the sniper side of this, it really feels like Shep is actually, look at this, framing the right arm of Rocker between 2 pillars, trying to bait the microfilm. I think Watermeat probably a bigger suspect than we were led to believe there.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Look at that, leaving that arm just visible between those 2 pillars. They know what they're doing.
Beautiful little move coming out of Shep. And possibly what won him the game, although it's very easy to assume that if it wasn't that, it could have very easily been something else. Let's see how Shep is able to play things on the spy side of this map. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Now, leaving that arm framed like that, a red obviously you catch, a white you probably catch, but a green, I don't know, maybe Watermeat gets away with that.
The green you probably still catch, because the only way you catch a green test is the arm anyways.
Yeah, if they were looking at it closely enough, I think maybe. That's an interesting framing there.
Shep pulls out a red book super early on, but can't bully the way. Uh-oh. Just bug. Just do it. I dare you. I dare you, Shep.
It really looks like they're staging some sort of intervention.
Oh, he got it! He did it! Yes!
Off screen. Now here's the question. So Watermeat is either very suspicious of the positioning, or it's a free bug.
Yeah.
One of those 2 things. They were basically all surrounding General, like they were trying to corner him, like he was the topic of conversation.
Oh, man.
Doesn't look so bad now that it's cleared out, though.
Yeah, Shep really just owning it. That positioning conversation was so bad, but it worked out.
That's the best thing.
Off.
It's the best thing you could do. When I tell a new player, the first thing I tell them is if you miss a pad, don't twitch into it, don't freak out, just play it cool. Who would have thunk that after, hundreds or thousands of games, that's still the thing to do?
Yeah. Second flirt, a bit of a distance on the white test only brings us up to 63%. So if we're going to 3 flirt, we are going to need a green on the 3rd. Book going back to the wrong bookcase. This is going to finish up the transfer microfilm mission.
I think it's free. I don't think there's any real suspicion on this.
I completely agree, and with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to play, the second completion, both hardtails done. And now we just need to take it easy, play it slow, apparently get highlight for something.
There was some bumping. It could be, I just don't remember where that book came from. The question is this just a general suspicion highlight?
Sick pun. I like that pun.
Or is it... or it could very easily be delayed highlight for the bookcase, and there's a lot of suspicion on Shep. We'll find out soon enough as Shep steps in for what he wants to be his last flirt.
Yeah, let's hope so. If it's not, things are going to get dicey.
Oh, it's not! It's only a white test. 97% is the current count. A minute and 30 left to play.
And we have officially reached said dicey status. 97%, bad place to be. Pretty good progress in general, but you got to go get something done.
There's a time ad. Green test. Runs away from it. That's what Shep needed.
And pretty darn good. And I got to imagine that if General were a bigger suspect, like we thought maybe after that highlight, probably would have gotten nabbed for this, or would in a moment.
Just swaps a front statue straight up. Watermeat considering it and just takes the shot.
You know what I particularly like there on the replay? I'm sure Hummus will play this back anyway. The zoom double take is what I'm going to call that. The oh, it's a swap. Wait, that's a swap? You know, zoom in, zoom back out. Think, would this really happen? And then remember back to the other game where they both swapped in each other's faces and go, yeah, I guess it would happen. If it could happen on gallery, it can happen here.
Fool me once.
Yep.
There was also a minor animation break there as well, though I think the swap is the more likely trigger, I guess, for lack of a better
I
word.
think probably the swap.
Also, I thought we were calling that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's just when you flick it on quickly. The safety dance.
That's and when you say we,
I mean we.
you mean you.
As the spy party community. That ties them up
I will
at 3-3 after the first couple games on Veranda. Let's go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one.
Drinking coffee now
in
is such a good
3,
idea.
2, 1. Playing it.
Hard to say if that swap was intentional, though, because at that point, getting one of those inspects in makes a lot of sense. Might have just rushed it.
Very easy could have been the case. Watermeat starting things out at green bookcase.
It'd be a good time to microfilm, given that your right arm, instead of dropping down noticeably, would be inside the suspected double agent's pancreas.
Indeed. But Watermeat just pulls away the green book and heads out to the middle of the map instead. Ooh, hello, seduction target. It's not a great flirt, but it's a free flirt, and we hit the green test for 32%. That is still in range of a 3 flirt.
Still technically, you'll take it. You'll take it.
Oh yeah, 100% yes.
Never look a gift flirt in the mouth.
I love it. Ambassador wants very badly to be bugged. Unfortunately, we have a book.
Well, if the sniper notices it for you, at least you won't be suspected of it. There is that.
This is very true. Watermeat just sort of hanging out before stepping back in the red bookcase to put the book away. Doesn't look like we're getting any suspicion from Sheph on that front as the mission gets completed. Watermeat looks like he's stepping in for his next flirt. Definitely snuggly enough to hit 34% on a white, so staying in 3 flirt range quite easily, though does not hit the green test, so it is going to need to be very snuggly for the last one.
But the main thing is knowing that you're within 1 flirt if you're close, because now you can plan around it. If you may or may not need a green test, you can't afford to leave it till late or you might time out. Now you know that 1 close flirt will do it. Definitely makes game planning the rest of your game a lot easier, which is very important with less than 2 minutes left on Veranda.
Absolutely. Watermeat now picking up a fingerprint off the blue bookcase, so Watermeat has visited every single bookcase on this map so far, now stepping into the statues for a pair of inspects.
Maybe they can build one after this and go to that one too.
Yes.
There used to be a yellow one on Panop. I would love to see a return of the yellow bookcase.
You're not wrong. There still is a yellow one on library.
Yes, that's right, geez. Not here, unfortunately.
But it could be. Either way, the 2 inspects do come off.
Ooh. Seduction target leaves. That was the final flirt. That's a big one.
That is very unfortunate indeed. So now we're going to need to rush a little bit. Picking up the briefcase is a way to get 1 completion, guaranteed. But with only 1 minute left to play, we are a little bit behind the clock.
And the order of these missions...
Oh! That bug was right in the camera's face! It was so visible! But Sheph's eyes were elsewhere. Unfortunately, the bug doesn't take. Finishing the inspects, finishing the swap. That's 4 completions, but also a bullet. Sheph's not getting letting another swap get away from him.
Yeah, both of them get away with swaps in each other's faces, then both of them try it again and it doesn't work. I think they both learned their lesson. I have to imagine that was actually one of those decisions where the green was part of the plan.
Yeah.
Because here's what you do. You green that statue swap, you go and finish the flirt while it's about to take. That works much better. That makes some sense to me. Although I'd still prefer banana bread at that point, even late. I think maybe that was the idea. The problem is you can't bank on the green.
If the bug comes off, Watermeat wins that game.
I think so. I think they're probably gonna go to statues again, or maybe they won't at all at that point. Maybe they'll banana bread and seduce instead. That was the moment where it could have been won or lost.
Either way, Shep still has that 1 point lead after the craziness that was Gallery. Let's see if Watermeat can hold serve in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, and even though you won that game, if you're Shep, you're thinking, boy, they still got a lot by me.
Yeah. This has been lots of really impressive spy play, and lots of pretty impressive sniper play as well. First flirt coming off from Shep here to 29% is not the greatest thing to see. The Ambassador in a very buggable position if we're able to twitch backwards a little bit, but with the fake contact coming off, it doesn't wind up being an option. We are instead just going to take the briefcase to him after the fact.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 lowlights available. I think only about 2 or 3 of them actually came off. That's pretty good for Veranda.
Very much so, but it is still a fake. So those are lowlights that didn't have to occur at all. 29% on the flirt, the first fingerprint, and stepping into statues with an already being highlight. This is not the greatest start from Shep.
No, it really isn't. Possibly Watermeat, maybe banking on that fingerprint even.
Very cool little play here. Shep bails on the statue after a single fingerprint, single inspect, in order to get a flirt at the windows, but it was a white test, so we're only up to 63%. Still a green needed for the 3 flirt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you get 1 inspect, then 2 rather than 2, and then 1. Either way, it's about the same, not likely to matter in the end game.
So a very nice little move for another flirt, but what is this? Only takes the 1 flirt on the second statue visit, instead goes statue to statue for a swap?
Trying to frame somebody, I assume. What on earth?
I can only imagine, but in the end, Shep only frames himself, and we wind up 4-4.
Seek was at that statue 50 seconds earlier, I think.
Damn it, Topo, I was gonna make that joke in a tooltip. I was gonna have a frowny face and like, TFW, you frame yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, almost a minute passed.
Great minds think alike, Hummus.
Yeah, between when, and so do you guys. And Seek puts it down, and then 50 seconds passed. And 50 seconds passed, and by the way, Seek was a low light, too. Seek was a low light.
Attacked.
Well played, Track.
Well,
well
so
played.
Topo, do you just want to be the only casters tonight? You and me? Let's just put that behind us and head off to the courtyard.
Oh, let's put that ugliness behind
really,
us and move on as
Spy Party is
friends.
the nicest community on the internet.
Well, so
That was
if Spy
awesome.
Party is the nicest community, the casts are the purge, where we
just
get it all
of
out.
our system for 22
Yes.
hours, everything is legal. Yeah.
Yep,
All
that's right.
All right. Well, 4-4. Very tight game. Lots of high-level play on both sides as Watermeat steps into the spy end of Courtyard, looking for another spy win in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
If it makes you feel better, Hummus, you can tell me that my penmanship is atrocious.
It doesn't.
Oh, okay. Well, it is, though. It is.
Watermeat starting things out on statues to taking the early highlight for it. Might not be able to get both inspects done here, depending on Sam in danger. Here's the attempt. I think this is a 3rd animation cycle.
Shep is completely on the other side because guess who else is? Toby and the Ambassador.
That'll do it. Watermeat gets away with the 3 cycle cleanly, but still has the highlight for the statue visit as he sidles up to a seduction target, getting ready to get this flirt on the road. It is a white test for 34%.
Yeah, so definitely got away with the 3rd cycle there. I mentioned Watermeat earlier, giving a little respect to Shep. In this case, actually being pretty fast and loose, maybe caught them on that rotation.
Yeah.
Banana bread.
Contact comes off. No reaction from Shep.
Weird. Seek and Alice, obvious lowlight. Sorry, Seek and Hare, obvious lowlights. Red dress, rather. Alice, on the other hand, split from an SDA convo. Keep an eye on that if Alice ends up getting shot late.
Weird path in the conversation from Watermeat, but I don't think it was on screen. Second flirt comes off on a green test to bring us up to 85%. 1 minute and 25 left on the clock. Watermeat still needs to find a hardtail, but has a reasonable amount of time to do it.
Yeah, after their incredibly bizarre decision not to swap at the beginning of a courtyard game, finds themselves...
Oh! Shep doesn't like something that Salmon Danger did and takes a bad shot. And that's a spy win on the board for Watermeat.
I think suspects a bug. There's a little moment, a little before the shot, where Salmon's arm sort of goes into the ambassador and out, and the way it emerges from the other character model kind of looks like an arm move or a lean.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
That definitely looks reasonable from here. I mean, we've all phantomed bugs before.
Yeah, we've all phantomed bugs, and not only that, but that's a character that approaced the ambassador.
Yeah, a person
specific.
I think also Shep's camera movement just a little bit. I think made the problem a little worse too. So I think it was just like a lot of little things kind of added up to that phantom bug and a bullet.
And an early statue visit too.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe. Yeah. So there it is. It makes sense. The timing of the shot
certainly a reasonable shot.
So, Watermeat has found another spy win and has found a way to put a little bit more pressure on Shep. Let's see if he can answer back in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Another very early statue visit, this time coming out of Shep for the early highlight.
Yeah, but this time the ambassador and Toby are on the same side, so you're not going to be able to get them both done without 3 cycling.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Banana bread.
Very rough
Banana
indeed. Double contact coming off for
And
some reason.
3 big lowlights. Boom, boom, boom. One of them Smallman, by the way. No small matter. That's a bad lowlight to give up early on Courtyard if you don't have to.
Yeah, one of them Smallman, one of them the other early statue visitor. Not the best looking contact. It is only 3 lowlights, but they weren't lowlights you wanted to give up. First flirt has happened at this point for 34%, and Shep steps back in the statue to finish up the inspects.
Now, if Watermeat is all over it, that's going to look very suspicious. Oh, look at that little wiggle. Yup, they're all over this.
This is a very difficult situation for Shep. There's a lot of heat on him, and he still needs to find a hardtail somewhere.
On the sniper camera, there was a little wiggle move over Shep, because here's the thing. If you are a sniper and you suspect someone, and you say, well, their inspects got interrupted, they're going to have to go back if they're the spy. If you say that, you predict it, and they do it, that is a big, big deal. The narrative that starts building in your head when you predict an action, if they're the spy, they'll do X, and then they do X, that is very hard to shake for better or for worse. In this case, for Watermeat, it's for the better.
Green Purloin, though, just now gets taken, and Watermeat is so on it!
Yep. Completely. All over it. Was waiting for it. Probably saw the reject, and the reject into statues. That's such a spy move, potentially, anyway. There was a bit of a delay, but, oh, geez. Yeah, I think they were all over it at that point. It was going to have to be someone else doing something to switch that game. Just the fact that they were on them early for the interrupted inspects and saw them go back, waiting for them to go back, and the fact that there weren't that many statue visitors other than that, because they got knocked out at least 1, maybe 2, I think, with that banana bread, that was significant.
Also, man, the timing of that, I love that Purloin, just like right at leaving statues. Like, that is a just gutsy Purloin from Shep, and I can't believe Watermeat tracked that. That was fantastic. So... well done. Yeah, that
very
was
impressive.
Great Purloin. I really loved it.
Yeah, if there was any less heat on Shep, I think that would have been a winning play. But with the amount of suspicion he already had, Watermeat was able to keep track and to get the shot off to put himself up 6-4. And for those of you who are used to regular season games happening, this is not match point. But because we're in the playoffs / championship matches / challenger bracket era of SCL Season 4. The matches are longer now, so that's why we're only casting 2 of them tonight, but also we go up to 16 games played, and if we get tied at 8-8, it's not a draw. There's a single overtime.
A single overtime match to decide it all, or game, I suppose, to decide it all.
Which is a little bit complicated, but we'll cross that bridge if and when we get to it as we step into Modern with Watermeat in a lead on the SPY side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, look at that score. Let me remind you again, Shep, the number 3 seed in this tournament, number 5 in Challenger, only lost twice all year. One of those to Dowsey in the final week. Watermeat joined late, but did not lose in the few matches they played. This is a very, very strong showing.
It's just somebody in chat saying odds on a swap attempt, and it's literally the first thing that happens.
I actually don't think it's that bad in this case.
I don't think so either. Gets the swap, gets a pair of inspects, and gets away. Now at a blue bookcase for a flirt and the start of some microfilm shenaniganry. This is a very fast start from Watermeat and hasn't been caught yet.
I actually think Shep might be on this. The camera rotation, it really looked like they were waiting for a microfilm there. I'm not sure yet. There's so much going on in Modern, but my suspicion is that Shep is on this a little.
Well, I suppose we'll find out soon enough. Lots of progress very early on from Watermeat, so if he did get away cleanly, or at least relatively cleanly from the swap, this could be a very good situation. 68% on the flirt now. We'll have to see how Watermeat plays this.
I think
not to go for the early contact.
I think there's a really decent chance that Watermeat's book has been identified, and that putting it back could end the game. Do not like that path. Sharp turn at the end.
Yeah, it wasn't the prettiest thing in the world. Hanging out at the front window reading a book, doesn't try anything with it. Goes for the briefcase. And there is no fingerprint here.
So here's the question. Are you suspicious for a fingerprint because Shep doesn't know that? Or are they tracking fingerprint closely enough on Modern, let me remind you, that you'll actually lose some heat for it?
Moment of truth, and the shot comes off. Shep is on it.
The story there was told through the sniper camera. There was a weird little tweak movement while Watermeat was at the blue bookshelf. Looks like they were trying to sort of feign movement and bait the microfilm off, keeping it on screen. Remember, I think it was Shep who did that earlier, right on Veranda. Keeping that arm of rocker between the panels. Does the same sort of thing here. And I looked around, I realized there was actually nothing for them to be doing that for. It didn't make sense to be watching the Amber with that little wiggle either. It was clearly just Watermeat, so they were on the swap.
All right. Either way, Shep now with the chance to tie things up at 6 on the SPY side of Modern. Watermeat on the sniper trying to maintain this lead in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I feel like the swap meta is going to have to evolve now.
Yeah, I think so. Shep starting things out at bookcase instead. Has a bug path if he wants it. Just puts the book away. Steps out and too wide for the bug.
3 early statue visitors. Interesting.
And goes to bar right next to the seduction target to pick up an early flirt for 34%.
Weirdly, Watermeat highlight all the statue visitors, including an SDA.
Indeed, that's very unusual, but Shep should be able to get a delegate at least out of this, assuming he doesn't want to just go for a really bold, direct... Ooh! Actually walks away from it without grabbing the drink. Does still get the delegate, though.
Yeah, I think maybe the idea here is going to be to walk away with the book, delegate, and then in the confusion, well, I'm wrong. I'm going to get rid of the book, actually. Just going to try to do something before the delegate.
Very slow game coming out of Sheph here. Really wanted that flirt, but the seduction target's not having it.
Interesting camera move from Watermeat around the ambassador. I wonder if Shep has been watching those early statue visitors and wants to deliberately frame Twin here.
It's possible. This is a very unusual game. Usually you really have to motor to get everything done on a map this big, but Shep is really taking his time. There's the Purloin coming off as the time ad happens on a green test, so...
Agrees with you about the motor thing, by the way. Figures I don't have enough time here.
Yeah. So the Purloin has happened at this point, and it doesn't look like there's been a reaction from Watermeat.
At minimum on Modern.
Now we're starting to get low lights. Now they're coming off.
Banana bread.
There's the contact. It's a fake one, by the way, and Shep gets low lit for it.
But I think he was trying to frame Sari, who took the guest list. Guess what Sari was doing? She was in a conversation with an SDA, but was sipping in the middle of the banana bread.
Oh boy.
That is not the way to frame. It's bad timing.
No.
Maybe bad luck, also bad timing.
Shep stepping into statues now, getting ready to start trying to finish missions. Still almost 2 minutes left on the clock, so it's very doable. We pick up our first set of inspects.
Sari has not been low lit for that sip during the banana bread, but you need her to go do something for you now.
Indeed. Shep, statue to statue. Second inspect. Just swaps it straight up. I think Shep knows he's low lit.
Maybe, but this is the kind of thing that can get you shot even as a low light.
Very true. Chases his seduction target right on in and picks up the green flirt up to 85%.
What's it gonna be? And how do you finish here? That's the question. It's not just the flirt.
We're starting with the flirt. Oh, jeez. Watermeat. Sorry, Shep definitely knows they're low lit at this point. Look at this aggression.
Well, maybe it is modern. They still are bothering, by the way, to stand across from the seduction target, which
That's
they
true.
only needed 15%. Maybe they suspect it.
Very nice bug coming across. And I think this is going to be Shep tying things up at 6. Watermeat took the last map, and Shep answers right on back.
That's a really big one there. Just got away with the Purloin. So Watermeat has that classic decision, which is when a Purloin goes off, how confident am I about low lighting certain people? It's a different sort of question when you have a delegate Purloin and not a tray Purloin, for lack of a better phrase. In this case, makes some aggressive assumptions, tries to go off memory maybe, just low lights too many people. And Shep, apparently, at some point, probably after the swap, suspects that maybe the low light happened.
Yep, but then the fake contact in a conversation with no double agent in it, and I think that was one of the things that netted him the low light, and away we go from there. It's 6-6. Balcony is our next venue of choice, with Watermeat starting things off on the spy side. Shep on the sniper in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
From the biggest map to the smallest. And from the biggest character to the smallest, too.
You're not wrong. First flirt only nets 26%, and a highlight for the timing.
And that's not a good trade. A highlight for an early talk and a low flirt like that, not where you want to be on a map like Balcony.
But you need that early flirt. It's very hard to avoid getting a highlight for an early talk. And still get missions done, that is. Production target decides to be friendly. If we can hit a green test here, that would be huge. There's the cooldown. And no, it's just a white test up to 60%. 1 minute to play.
Well, you're gonna have to 3-flirt anyway, but now you're gonna need that green.
Banana bread.
There's the contact coming off. Everybody in conversation.
Green at the end of the talk animation too.
Shot comes off, and Shep doesn't find the right target. Watermeat is up once again.
Now, what's interesting about that, he must have been crediting Twin with quite a bit. Twin was next to Pearls and Watermeat, Smallman, basically, I think, the whole game.
Yeah.
So I think at that point, Shep is crediting a 2-flirt and the banana bread.
Wow.
Yeah, because they barely had time for the time. There's no way they had time for 3-timer flirts, 2-timer flirts rather after the first one. So maybe just a little aggressive there. Obviously, it happens, but how can you assume it?
Bold shots like that on balcony. You feel like a damn genius when you're able to make them happen, but sometimes it winds up biting you. Shep stepping into the spy side. Watermeat, if he can find the win here, it's going to be 2 match points going into the next map. Let's see if he can make it happen from the sniper side. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And this is not where you wanted to be if you were Shep. You can't even afford.
Gets away with it, it looks like.
Well, we'll see, because on balcony, there's no reason to react. I think you might be right, though. But here's the thing. Only one person at Windows. It's actually not that hard. This has happened to me in balcony games where I notice a time ad 30 seconds too late, but it's not always that hard to remember who was at Windows when you do.
Well, now there's been another visitor. Well. We have our first flirt for 34%, and 2 minutes left on the clock.
That's pretty good, but here's the thing. One of the reason to time ad on balcony, if you think you can get away with it, is to let an AI complete their flirts.
Contact comes off.
If I got away with a time ad on balcony, I would try to flirt, see if I hit a green, and try to 2-flirt. Obviously, at that point, I probably win. Otherwise, you just don't talk. You get out of there. You let the AI do it. They're gonna finish.
Well, that might be what's happening here. No, Shep is keeping up the conversation. 68% after the second flirt. Plenty of time for a timer flirt, but the shot comes off, and it's a bad one. And ladies and gentlemen, we are tied at 7 going into the final map.
Wow. Really needed that. I don't think Shep played that very well, to be perfectly honest with you. All respectfully. Unless they saw something in the research that said, I'm going to get away with the most obvious time ad no demand. I like the first talk. Give yourself options. I think the second, though, at that point, I think you want to wait. It turns out Watermeat's so aggressive it didn't really matter. But if you can get away with the time ad on balcony, you're basically daring them not to shoot because 2, maybe 3 AIs are going to, quote-unquote, complete flirt at that point if you do nothing.
Oh, man. Finishing this match off at the land of the yellow bookcase. We're going to library with Watermeat on the spy, Shep on the sniper, playing for match point in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, Shep would need to win both of these to avoid the insanity of an overtime that they did not think they were going to have to play.
Bit of a longer than usual AI control from Watermeat there.
Yeah, you don't see that too often on library.
Watermeat starting things off very slowly. Not hanging out with the seduction target, not hanging out at the statues, not hanging out at the bookcase.
Just hanging out, really.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Did I ever tell you the time about this spy that went to a party to accomplish missions and just found the conversation so enthralling they stayed in it the whole time?
Well, Watermeat steps into center statue for a swap and a set of inspects.
Okay.
Not even getting the third inspect off.
I refuse to analyze this.
Well, I don't think it's been seen yet. It was on camera for a split second there.
Yeah, it's gonna be seen though, and
Yeah, there it is.
there it is, and little hitch maybe.
Looks like he was just highlighting hair. Did Watermeat get away with this?
One of two things: either totally got him on it and is just kind of playing along and waiting for confirmation, trying to bait something, or maybe it's one of those things where you talk yourself out of it. A 3 swaps to a 2, and you think, probably it was probably that one because who would swap now? Well, you should already know Watermeat would swap now.
Yeah.
Watermeat would swap later. Watermeat will swap next week. Watermeat has swapped while I'm saying this.
Watermeat
Banana bread.
will swap at any given moment.
It's entirely possible that Watermeat's goal as a Spy Party player is to find a way to swap twice in the same game.
Fake contact, by the way.
You should be able to swap back, by the way, in my opinion, like returning the guest list.
Interestingly, no lowlights after the fake contact, which suggests being paid very close attention to. But then the bug in conversation comes off completely clean, and then a green purloin happens. Watermeat stepping back into statues to finish the inspects. Purloin has not been taken yet. Now the list gets grabbed.
And now...
Sheph trying to look for a swap that's already happened!
Oh, no, you're... this is not the swap you're looking for, Jedi Handwave.
I think he was looking for the swap and noticed the list was gone.
I mean, you're right to suspect the swap. You're just about a minute and a half too late, and it's on the other set of statues.
Oh,
wow.
Man! But no flirt progress with 40 seconds to play. We're in conversation with the double agent. If we hit this contact now... Sheph just looks so confused.
Well, why not? 3 hardtails have happened. One of them was a
No!
swap.
Double agent steps away! We have to chase!
Our
Watermeat waited too long! She went to statues!
Oh,
She went to
no.
okay, sorry! Everything's falling apart at the end!
You can't fingerprint in a rush. You can't seduce in a rush. You can maybe take the book out. There's going to be overtime. You have to time add. This isn't going to work.
No! Sheph trying to get too cute! Oh! No!
Oh, no!
Too late! The shot was lined up on Irish a split second earlier.
Please.
That book goes away, and
Look
that
at
is
this.
a win for Watermeat.
Look at how close this is. The overtime shot was definitely going to be Irish. No question about it. Was absolutely waiting for it. Watermeat had him where he wanted him, and where he wanted him apparently was 4 hardtails.
Man, look how long Watermeat is hanging out in this conversation with the double agent with 4 missions done. It's from 50 seconds to 25 seconds.
Yep. Just waiting. And I actually like this, and the reason I like this is that there are desperation banana breads at the end of games when you're trying to induce a shot and you're not going to finish. They almost always come at times when spies would normally be finishing, which usually means the last minute. So something like 25, 30 seconds, so there's not going to be overtime, that's actually a pretty good time to do it if you want it to look like a desperation banana bread. So you want to time the desperation banana bread when it's the real thing and you're actually finishing. So I don't mind the delay. It's just too long. It's just a little too long.
It's just a little too long, and the double agent was already there by the time we showed up, so yeah, just a little bit too much delay.
Just a comment.
God, that was so
it was
close
tense.
at the end, though.
Just a comment on the swaps though. Can we rename Watermeat to Swap Meat?
Oh
No.
God. Okay, that one I'm on board for.
Okay.
Swap meat.
Swap Meat.
Yes.
All right. Sorry, that's all I needed to say. Go on to the next one.
Okay.
Look at that. That was so close. We're talking maybe a half second.
Less.
Yeah. That's something. 4 hardtails nearly.
4 hardtails. And now Shep on match point. Watermeat has the sniper though. Let's see how this turns out in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
That doesn't always feel great if you're Shep because you won that game, but you realize you really, really didn't almost just lose it, but lost it rough.
Yeah. Now, if Shep wins this, then the set is his. If he doesn't, we go to overtime.
Again, not the position Shep probably thought they were going to be in here.
Shep on the way out of statues early on after getting a duo of inspects. Still needs one more. And picking up a time ad at the back window. Was on camera, but probably not noticed. There's the first flirt coming off for 33%. Seduction target steps away right afterwards, so the cooldown will happen pretty quickly. Oh, and seduction target comes right back. Another flirt up to 67 now. Looking pretty nice for Shep so far.
Yeah, it's decent progress, certainly. And a fairly active party. A lot of jumping around. Oh, that banana bread is so significant. Not only do 5 lowlights come off on the left side of the screen, but right before the banana bread happens, Watermeat wiggles the camera over Irish hit statues, indicating that they suspect them, so you just knocked out the sniper's top highlight.
Finishes up at the statues, but those lowlights are huge.
Yeah, not just a number of highlights, not just a decent number overall for library, but specifically someone Watermeat has indicated with their camera movement that they want to shoot.
Yeah. Oof. Not what you want to see as Shep. Didn't get any credit for the banana split either because off camera, and then Watermeat got plenty of lowlights as it is, wasn't starved for anything. Shep stepping towards the back conversation here to finish up the seduce, I believe. And then with 2 minutes and 20 left, still has plenty of time to figure out what next.
Yeah, really decent progress. With 2 minutes left and all your softails here done, you can really pick and choose. And that's the thing about library, is that when you have the time to actually plan out your hardtails, it's not that hard to get away with 1 or 2 of them.
2 minutes to play on the nose now. Shep just surveying the party, trying to figure out where this next move is going to be. Hopefully it's not a swap.
I think at this point they're just all swapped out. We've run out of new statues to swap in.
Yeah. Lots of idling though. Down to 1 minute 35. No movement yet. So that kid's target still wants it. It's a drink offer. Doesn't take the purloin. Oh, there we go.
Just
That
a
was
little late.
awkward. It's a white purloin animation break on the way out, trying to get away as quickly as possible. Does Watermeat see it? It doesn't look like he does.
I think that was clean. I can't believe it.
I think it was completely clean. Shep now 1 mission away. But because we haven't gotten the fingerprint, it's going to need to be another hard tell. 45
really
seconds.
Banana bread.
Contact comes off. So does the shot. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to overtime.
Great presence of mind there to wait for confirmation or something resembling it. Obviously, I guess we were wrong on the purloin. Hit it well with the camera movement and took the shot when they had to.
So, here's how the overtime works. We get 1 game. Shep, being the higher seed, I believe, chooses who picks the map and who picks to spire snipe. I don't know what he picked.
Right. Yeah, it's a pick-cut thing. When I was growing up, and my brother and I would fight over who got the last piece of cake or how to split it or something, my dad would always say, one of you divides it in two and the other one gets to pick which half, which never seemed great to me, but it's the best you can do with, rude little boys like us who refuse to agree about anything. So this is the same thing. It's a pick and a cut. One person picks a game mode, has to be the default number of guests, but they pick a map and a mission setup, and then the other person looks at that and says, I want to spy or I want to snipe. One game, winner take all.
Shep says that in the chat that he chose to pick and let Watermeat cut. Watermeat chooses classic balcony, and Shep chooses to snipe.
That's actually an interesting choice. In this SCL season, Spies won balcony about 55% of the time.
Oh, man. Well, it all comes down to this. Shep, very highly seeded in the challenger bracket, coming up against a dark horse who joined late and has given Shep one heck of a run for his money. One game is all that separates these two as Shep steps behind the rifle in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And in the pick cut, this kind of is the thing to choose. Generally speaking, you'd rather be picking rather than cutting, and that was the case with my brother too, by the way. And Watermeat makes the correct move in saying, let's just go standard here, balcony, best chance for a spy.
Contact comes off. Highlight comes off. Not great positioning for the flirtation.
No, not a good start. At this point, you're going to need some help from the party.
Watermeat already in a difficult situation here. First flirt is a green test for 35%, so that's something. But with only 1 minute and 15 on the clock, we're still in a difficult situation.
Yeah, that helps a lot, and there are a lot of highlights, and the party's been pretty active, so that's not too bad, but you're going to need something here. I don't think you can just play this straight.
Watermeat, the pretty good briefcase, follows it up, gets low-lit, finishes the briefcase cleanly, gets the bug, but takes the shot for it, and Shep takes the set.
Look at this. The arm comes through the character models while low-lit. If he pulls just a little farther away and the arm doesn't come all the way through, I think he wins this.
What a move by Watermeat. That is one of the boldest plays you can make in a situation like this. But just the weird path, I think, was what did it.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe Hummus can show us on this replay just how visible it is.
It's not very visible. The only thing that happens is turns in a little bit too far.
The hand.
So
you can see the arm.
Doesn't come through the ambassador, but does come through Bling Twin on the way.
Yes, yeah, the trailing of the hand at just past the ambassador. I think that's all it took. Tremendous catch from Shep. Absolutely. Really good catch with a low light there. I think if he's just a little farther away, if that hand doesn't trail through like that, he probably gets away with it. Boy, really good bug. Really good catch. What a great set.
The briefcase setup, too. That was such a strong play from Shep. Just got a little bit too close on the end of it.
Yeah, and I was just saying you can't play this straight. The slow progress on the flirt at the beginning of the game meant they were not going to be able to just bounce in and out of conversation and get a couple flirts done without getting shot. I don't think so. Not against Shep, not against someone who was that strong in Challenger all season. So actually, a lot of props to Watermeat for recognizing the slow start, realizing they had to do something aggressive, and nearly getting it done.
Remember the library game. This match came down to a split second and then half an inch.
That's all it is. It's a game of inches. It really is. It's a game of pixels. It's a game of fractions of a second. Watermeat came so close to scoring not just an upset, but maybe the biggest upset of the tournament so far. Very close.
Yeah, that was one hell of a set. But that brings us to the end of the first of 2 matches today. Coming up next, as soon as I can, click, and load some things, We have Pony versus Falcon Hit. Why don't we talk about this one a little bit?